Hello, Jessica Frost Ballas here with a video for lawnfawn. A few years ago, I created a foursquare bird-themed holiday card showing the 4 seasons, and today I wanted to do something similar with the new backyard bird feeder sets, so let's get started. First, I stamp a bunch of images from Backyard Bird Feeder and Backyard Bird Feeder add-on onto white cardstock with Copic-friendly black ink. I color all the images with Copic markers using 2 or 3 color families for each image, depending on the size of the image. I color my birds to resemble a cardinal, bluebirds, and goldfinches, but you could change it up to color your favorite birds. I sped up my coloring, but you should be able to see all the color markers I use. If you have any questions about the colors, please leave a comment and I'll try to answer your questions. Once I finish coloring, I die cut all the images with the coordinating dies. Next, I die cut the tree branches backdrop portrait die once and the foursquare backdrop landscape die twice from white cardstock. I'll be layering the foursquare die over the branches to create each seasonal window, starting with spring in the upper left corner. For winter, I cut the leaves off the branches in the bottom right corner. Next, I color the branches using Copic markers E23, 25, and 27. Then I color the leaves of each window to represent the seasons. I use light greens for spring, darker greens for summer, and oranges and yellows for fall. Once I finish coloring the branches, you can start to see the seasons. To dress up my seasonal windows, I die cut snowflakes from the Magic Iris Snow Globe set and flowers and clouds from the Magic Iris Birdhouse and Meadow backdrop die sets. I also cut some of the extra leaves from the Tree Branches backdrop set. I color the die cuts with Copic markers, using bright pinks for the flowers and reds for my leaves. I also add a little blue shading to the clouds. And now it's time to create the background for each season. I take the rectangles die cut from the foursquare backdrop and blend picked raspberry and spun sugar distress oxide ink onto the first rectangle for spring. I center the color on the bottom right corner and fade up to white at the top left. For summer, I blend salty ocean and tumbled glass onto the rectangle, focusing the darker color on the bottom left corner. I use dried marigold and squeezed lemonade for fall with the darker color in the top right corner. And finally, I use hickory smoke and a very tiny bit of black soot distress oxide inks for winter, focusing the color on the top left corner. Next, I apply tape runner over the front of a top-folding white card base. Then I carefully adhere one of my foursquare backdrops over the front of the card base. This gives me an easy reference for puzzle piecing in each of my seasonal backdrops. Since there's already adhesive on the panel, it's easy to adhere in the blended backgrounds. Once I place the backgrounds into the foursquare layout, the darkest colors will be concentrated in the center and they'll fade out to white in the corners. Next, I add in a few of my colored die cuts using liquid glue to add the cloud and snowflakes. Then I adhere my bird feeders to the scene. I let the house bird feeder tuck around the foursquare backdrop for a little more dimension. I use liquid glue to adhere the branches backdrop onto the card base, and then adhere the second foursquare backdrop over that, making sure to carefully arrange the branches in birdhouse so that they cross over the foursquare borders. For my sentiment, I stamp Hava and Year from Henry's Build a Sentiment Winter Set and Seedsational from Backyard Birder Feeder onto black licorice cardstock and heat emboss them with white embossing powder. Then I adhere all the colored images in die cuts. I let some of the images cross over the foursquare to help the scenes flow from season to season. I use a glitter pen to add a little sparkle to my snowflakes and then add accents with a white gel pen. I also use Copic markers to color the background of each bird feeder to match the season. Then, to give the appearance of snow, I add a little crystal glaze over the winter branches and sprinkle them with chunky and prisma glitter. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Be sure to subscribe to the lawnfawn channel for even more crafty inspiration. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have an amazing day and happy crafting. Bye!